Then they will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister to you? Then he will answer them, saying, As you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me.
You want my kingdom, but you're not kingdom people.
Yeah, you're not acting like my kingdom. Hey everybody, welcome to Grafted. I'm Sam and this is Dr. Tom.
And we are going to react to the finale of season 4.
Let's go.
Ah, here it is. This is our lamb. Exactly 1 year old. Spotless. The Passover is in 6 days, which means today is the day we have to anoint his feet.
But why, Abba?
Because he's going to come live with us in our house for 5 days. We have to mark him as special and keep him clean, understand?
Clean?
Yes. Because after 5 days, we're going to offer him as a sacrifice to atone for our sins.
So just one Hebrew tidbit. Lamb is supposed to be perfect, right? Spotless.
Yeah.
And the Hebrew word is tamim.
Tamim.
And it means numerically, each Hebrew letter has a value to it. And so if you add up the letters of the word tamim, it's 490.
490. Okay.
And so this is definitely a kind of a mystical insight here. They call it gematria. But 490 is, Yeshua says, hey, how many times are we supposed to forgive people? Peter asks him, and he says
70 times.
70 times 7.
Yeah.
So 490 is connected to the perfect lamb.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's cool.
Kind of a fun tidbit.
I like that. There's like little things that are sprinkled in there that you may not know, but they're alluding to potentially forgiveness and Jesus' sacrifice. And that's cool. That's fun. I haven't heard that one before.
Hey, Sam, you know what our YouTube analytics say?
What?
That people watch our channel and are not subscribed.
That's ridiculous.
Why would you do that?
Would you click that subscribe button right now?
Go for it.
That he raised a man 4 days dead at Bethany, and there were over 100 witnesses.
They were only witness to the man walking out of the tomb. They did not see him go in, which means it could have been staged.
Why would so many people have come to Shiva if the person wasn't actually dead?
He has orchestrated more elaborate
Exactly.
spectacles in the past.
I was bleeding for 12 years and my faith in him healed me. That's no illusion.
Who can corroborate the facts of your supposed previous condition?
Are we really getting into these?
And where is Jesus now? Will he show up for the feast?
I doubt he would miss the Passover.
Unless he has something to hide. The coward won't show his face.
He is no coward. How can you call him a coward? When not a week ago, he stood up to you and other leaders when you tried to stone and arrest him.
We do not take blasphemy lightly. The law commands we put to death false prophets.
You also need to have a trial before you decide to kill somebody.
For sure.
So
It's not like a, hey, you know what? Let's kill that guy.
right, you need 2 or 3 witnesses, it says in the Torah as well. So they are circumventing the law here.
Well, I mean, we've said it before, but these things are demonically charged. Like it's just all coming to a head. I mean, you've got the Son of God walking around in the temple. It's gonna stir the pot a little bit.
And the only legal reason they had for capital punishment was if somebody went past the barrier that was set up between where Gentiles couldn't cross any longer.
Oh yeah.
So they're still going beyond their jurisdiction, if you will, and taking the law into their own hands. And they would have had Rome to deal with in that sense.
Right. Because they can't just do things like that without Roman consent too. Right.
They're really violating Roman law and the Torah law.
A 2-for-1 deal.
And I know what happened to me.
He's the Christ. And instead of embracing his power, you feel threatened by it. Because he will be your authority when he is king.
Insolent witch! You will recant your statement.
Or what? You'll stone her too?
Tell us more about Jesus.
Nice. I like it.
Oh, good.
Getting busy in Jerusalem.
If I understood any of this, it would be remarkable, wouldn't it? Jews from every corner of the known world could do without the endless slaughtering of lambs, the shrieking, the blood.
You've read the story. What's to understand?
I guess care is what I meant. If I cared, it would be remarkable.
I like this, how he's saying that Pilate would have read this story, and which is very likely.
Yeah.
He was a highly educated man, really of the noble class within Roman society.
The noble class.
Exactly. Which he kind of talks like that,
right.
you know. And then the other thing he said that was really true is that Jewish people came from all over the world to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover. And in the first century, most people don't realize this, but the majority of the Jewish people were living in the diaspora.
Wow.
Meaning they're living outside of the land of Israel.
Wow.
So they're still kind of technically in exile, you could argue, since so many Jewish people lived all over.
That's interesting.
And so to travel to Jerusalem,
it's a long way.
Would be so expensive.
Yeah, dangerous.
And really dangerous.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? That means they really loved God.
That's good. Yeah.
They were devout Jewish people, or you wouldn't spend all that time and risk to come to Jerusalem.
So technical question, and answer as best you can. Passover, and then a little bit later is Shavuot, right? Yeah. People are traveling a long way. Both are these coming up festivals. Do people just stay for Shavuot, or they go back and come back?
It probably depends where you're from. I mean, maybe if you're from the Galilee or something, you might go back. It's, a couple days walk or whatever.
Right.
But even then, that's a hard walk
for sure.
3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
But if you were from Egypt, there's no way.
Right.
You're not going back.
You have to stay because it'd take you 50 days to get back anyway.
It wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah. I guess you don't think about it that way. Right. Travel is so easy, convenient. I know we get troubled by it a lot, but we got cars, we got trains, we got planes, we got all that stuff.
Right.
But they had caravans, and not Dodge caravans.
Yes. Oh, good.
Dodge does not sponsor this video.
I wish they did. Partner with us by donating to our nonprofit ministry and become a grafted ambassador.
You'll get access to even more great content. You'll be able to join our monthly Zoom call, and you'll even get some grafted swag.
So click on the link in the description below.
This one is called Cove. 3 parts myrrh, 2 parts cassia. Lovely for burning to purify a house. 10 denarii. And this one is Cleopatra. 4 parts cypress, 1 part myrtle in rose oil. Very good for skin and hair. 15 denarii, top shelf. Not top shelf enough. Excuse me, I want to see your oils that aren't for sale. I know you have them. I've been to dinner with many wealthy people. I only bring those out for my most loyal and liquid customers.
Snap.
Hey, yo. That ain't no checkbook.
That's not liquid. That's solid.
Getting your elements confused.
Wait here.
I'll be right back.
Derived from a rare flowering honeysuckle varietal high in the Nepal mountains.
Gloves.
Glove up, baby.
Used to anoint kings in China and India. Protected in a premium alabaster vessel for temperature control. Pure spikenard.
Cool job.
How many ounces would you like?
The whole jar.
My, you are charming, dear. But truly, what do you think? 1.5 ounces.
I said the whole jar.
It's not possible. This jar would cost more than half a year's wages, and I need the supply to satisfy my wealthiest clientele. And it would take me several months to obtain another jar.
You need to listen. This is for the most important king the world has ever known.
Yeah. That's good.
I love it.
300 denarii. A full year's wages. You can take the rest of the year off.
That's a cool line. I love that. For the most important king the world has ever known.
That's great.
Super good.
That reminds me of the last episode when they were talking, her and her sister, and it was, what do you give the man that can raise the dead?
Right.
You
right.
know?
It's like, there is no gift, right? And that's like a small price to pay, right? She's like, it's totally worth it. Like, let's go.
She's thinking eternally.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. It's a really cool extra to the narrative that we see in scripture. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. I love this.
She had to get it somewhere.
Right? And it was expensive.
Exactly.
And it was probably an interesting conversation with the person she bought it from.
Right, like
what? Why do you want to spend that much money for what? Yeah. So that's good. I love that.
They were wealthy.
Right.
The possibly false teachings of Jesus of Nazareth and purported signs are the very reason I came to study in Jerusalem in the first place. I have the most complete record of his words and deeds. This matter of Elijah, it bears investigating. I will go to Bethany and ask him myself if he claims to be Elijah.
We don't have any more questions, Shmuel. The man claimed to be God at the Feast of Dedication.
If we let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him. I'm seeing it firsthand even now. And Rome will want to prevent a revolt. Pilate will come and take away our positions here in Sanhedrin and then destroy our entire nation.
Exactly, this is the future we can expect.
High Priest Caiaphas, may I go?
Gedera, you know nothing at all. I have already been given a prophecy from God, and I believe it is about this exactly. The prophecy is that a man will die for the people so that our nation will not perish.
No, this is really amazing because John actually interprets what Caiaphas is saying, and they quote pretty closely what Caiaphas says in the text, but John interprets it this way. So this is John 11, 51. He says, "He did not say this of his own accord, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the nation, and not for the nation only, but also to gather into one the children of God who are scattered abroad."
Wow.
So cool.
It's so interesting how you've got a prophecy coming from the wicked high priest.
Right.
But then he's saying that is going to lead to the death of the Messiah, Yeshua, but that will cause this people of God to be gathered together.
Right.
And John there says children of God, and he uses that phrase another place in John 1. And children of God is talking about being born again.
Yeah.
Like all of those. It's talking about Jews and Gentiles.
For sure.
So, I mean, this is amazing. John's actually showing how through Yeshua, the unity of the family is going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, one flock, one shepherd of the Jewish and Gentile parts of the family.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's so cool. It's nestled right in there, right after the resurrection of Lazarus. And like you said, it's coming from Caiaphas.
Yeah.
Which is like, wait, what?
Not how you would have drawn it up.
No, right? It's like, what a dramatic story he's weaving together. So, and then John, like you said, gives that interpretation. And it's this unity of the family, the children of God coming together. This is the plan.
Wow.
The plan is happening. The plan is coming.
The only answer is immediate arrest and execution, as Caiaphas
I did
has
not
said.
say immediate. We are not legally allowed to execute anyone with the exception of a ritual stoning within the temple courts. If his death is to be public and a spectacle, it must be done by Rome. If we move too quickly, they won't recognize the favor we've done them.
But how?
Herod Antipas and his court will be arriving in Jerusalem for the festival soon. They'll be attending the annual state dinner with Pilate's administration. I'll see to it the topic is brought up.
He is pathetic. And also, we ought not to be endorsing his attendance at the state dinner.
Making sure our voice is heard is not the same as endorsing it, Shammai. I will make sure a letter is waiting at Herod's compound in the city when he arrives.
That was Shammai talking there.
Yeah.
I actually looked into it. I was wondering, like, would Shammai really be alive at this time?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have been, he would have been old. You know, it's kind of like when sometimes like circa
right.
how long he lived was right about this time. So he would have been an old man.
So Hillel and Shammai would have gone back and forth even?
Well, no, Hillel would already have died.
Oh, okay.
So, but what's interesting is Gamaliel, who it says is the teacher of Paul in the book of Acts, and a member of the Sanhedrin,
right?
Who they haven't introduced.
True.
Which I'm curious.
They would have to at
why
some
they
point,
haven't,
right?
You know? So there's probably some
interesting
turn of events coming.
Mystery there, yeah.
But he was either the son or the grandson of Hillel.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they were family.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that means that Paul was definitely a Hillelite. And so he would have been, and others representing Hillel in the Sanhedrin and beyond.
So you would have Hillel's theology and philosophy represented.
Well, definitely probably Gamaliel was like the main proponent, I would think.
Right.
But, I mean, I'm sure others as well.
So hopefully we'll see him maybe next season. We'll see.
The book of Acts is coming.
It is. It's right around the corner.
Are we late?
Almost. You have the praetor of Capernaum to thank. If you hadn't stopped to talk to Eden, you would have missed your ride. Come. We still have to get Mikal and my kids. Hope he enjoys his week off.
This is our first Passover pilgrimage. Oh, never seen the Holy Temple. Can you believe that?
I wonder why.
What a friend.
I would totally hang out with that guy.
Yeah.
Him and Jairus, like, let's go. Let's go have some fun together. Let's make Bible jokes all over the place. I'm in. You're coming to Kansas City, guys. Let's hang. Oh, great, this guy.
Oh, no.
You gonna steal some more?
Oh, man. Don't do it.
Come on. Is that called cooking the books?
Seriously. I feel like this is what God experiences when he watches us sin. You know?
Right.
He's like, oh, don't do it. What are you doing? Stop. It's like probably so hard for him to watch.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good perspective. He's watching.
It's nice, by the way. So, Lazarus, 6 days to go. Have you selected your lamb?
Yes, he's out back. I just need to perform the rites, bring him in. Whenever you're here, I seem to neglect all my duties.
Oh, you're not neglectful. We just have to soak up our time together.
Are we expecting someone?
No one knows where Mary is, but she wouldn't knock.
Oh, we should be careful who we let in these days.
Agreed.
You know, if you had Jesus over, you'd have to prepare a lot of food. Like Jesus party of 13.
Seriously.
That's a lot of hospitality going on.
It is a lot. Martha had her work cut out for her.
For sure.
And Mary takes off. Typical.
No wonder she was upset. Gotta feed all these people.
It's our man.
Ah, Lazarus. Rabbi. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Please, I don't mean to interrupt. I brought with me here a member of the Sanhedrin.
Well,
You remember me?
of course I do.
It's cool.
It is neat.
I'm relieved I had not made a great mistake in bringing him here. And the newcomer to the Sanhedrin. This is
He gave warning in Jotapata that people were looking for you.
Oops.
I was looking for you.
Well, you found me. And congratulations to you both on your appointments. Capernaum's finest. Please, will you join us? Please.
Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Please.
They can have your seats.
The head of the table.
Parables in action.
Tremendous opportunity for a strategic alliance. Yeah, we'll see.
Rabbi, we have reason to believe that there is danger lying in wait for you at the highest levels of temple leadership.
I would not have expected that. I'm joking. Go on.
He got me for a second.
I know. I was kind of like, huh?
I'm what?
And then he said, oh my God.
Well, I think if you're like the other people at the table, you really are like hanging on his every word.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's he going to say? You know?
So if he dropped like a one-liner every once in a while, you'd be like, I feel like I wouldn't be able to like comprehend it. Like,
Yeah.
What is he saying?
It reminds me of
Is
how...
it a riddle?
Exactly. You know when you're teaching in like in public?
Yeah.
And it's like, whatever joke you say, it's way funnier when you're on stage and there's a couple hundred people
For
there,
sure.
Because it's like, for some reason, the bar gets lower, when you're on stage. Because it's it's like a formal setting. So it's like, oh!
The audience is ready. They want to laugh. They like you. Right.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah. You feel way funnier.
All my jokes land. Every one of them. Practice makes perfect.
Hey, Sam, are you wealthy?
Not really.
Me neither. Hey, please donate. Help us make more videos. Become a grafted ambassador.
Rabbi Shmuel, what would you like to see? Regardless of who. What is your hope for a Messiah?
To usher in a new Davidic kingdom that drives out our oppressors and restores justice and glory for Israel.
Glory?
Yes, on a glorious throne with prosperity for all, a new golden age with Israel as the light to the nations, revealing God to the peoples of the world.
And you? What will you do in that day?
Worship, serve, I hope. How could I possibly know until that day comes?
I will tell you. When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. Before him will be gathered nations, and he will separate people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will place the sheep on the right, but the goats on the left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom that has been prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." Then the righteous will answer him, saying, "Lord, when did we do these things for you?" Then the king will answer, "Truly, I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers, you did it to me." Then he will say to those on his left, "Depart from me, for I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you did not welcome me. Naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me." Then they will answer him, saying, "Lord, when did we see you hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister to you?" Then he will answer them, saying, "As you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me."
Wow.
That's good.
It's like I didn't want to interrupt.
I know, right?
It felt like a holy moment.
It did.
It's such a powerful parable, and it was hitting me just how I don't want to throw people in the first century under the bus, but just like they weren't ready for him. In that sense of like he's saying that we aren't acting like the family of God.
Right.
Or you want my kingdom, but you're not kingdom people.
Yeah, you're not acting like my kingdom.
Right?
Right.
So it's like, come now, defeat Rome, set up your kingdom, and for the glory of God.
Right.
It's like, but we have to like embody that glory.
Yeah.
And so it's hard. I'm not saying we're there 2,000 years later either, but that's what he's emphasizing, obviously. Not just their hearts. We oftentimes talk about how Yeshua emphasizes the heart, but he's not just emphasizing the heart, right?
No.
He's saying your actions,
your deeds,
your deeds are not conducive to the kingdom of God.
Right. Which James picks up later, and he's like, "I'm so glad you believe. I'm so glad you have faith. Show me your works.
Right.
Show me what you're doing." He's like, even the demons believe and shudder.
Wow. Yeah.
He's like, so show me what it looks like to be in the kingdom of God. I mean, as he's talking here and quoting the text, it's like, man, I'm evaluating myself.
Totally, yeah.
Like, oh man, the least of these, like, what am I doing? What am I doing for the least of these?
Totally.
Right. And so I think it's a good question for us as people who are his disciples.
Right.
Are we acting like people in his kingdom?
Right.
And not to put like condemnation on people, but to ask honest questions.
Right.
And say, am I professing this, but am I doing this?
Yeah.
And it looks different for different people, but like, you have to participate.
I think that's one of the most powerful scenes.
Yeah.
Where it's just playing out the biblical text.
Yeah.
And you really were feeling
it's true.
What it could have been like for Yeshua to give a parable.
Right. That's good.
It
is good.
I mean, you really felt it there. And there, because there wasn't a lot of cuts.
Yeah.
It was just like this take, and they didn't interrupt him with things that were kind of extra biblical or something. It just played this out, and wow, you could feel that. I would encourage you to go back and listen to that again.
Yeah.
It kind of made the text come alive.
It did, and it almost gets a little awkward, because he repeats it both ways, like for those that did do for the least of these, and those that didn't, and you're kind of like, we get the point, but do we get the point? You know what I mean? And so he takes the time to go through all of it,
right?
Twice.
It was good.
It was really good.
This is a hard teaching.
I do not know how to make it less so.
The Son of Man, the Messiah, is identified with the lowest of all people? The hungry, the poor, the stranger.
It's what I've been preaching from my opening sentence on the Mount.
But what of all the Torah requirements and traditions upheld by our forefathers?
The prophet Micah distilled such things down to their essence, and you overlooked it. He has told you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly
with your God? Yes, but how do you harmonize that with the parting conclusion of Kohelet in the Ketuvim? The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
A new commandment I give you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples, that you have love for one another.
What of the temple? The sacrifices, the law, the feasts? Are not keeping these how nations will know we are God's people?
The temple, the sacrifices, the law, the feasts, all fulfilled in me.
I think it's important to point out that when he says that I want to give you a new commandment to love one another, he then says, like I love. Like the love, this new, it's not like, oh, they weren't supposed to love before.
Right.
I mean, love God and love neighbor are both taken from the Torah.
For sure.
So,
For sure.
But what he's saying is that we have to love the way that he loved.
Right.
And that's this new commandment.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
it's an important distinction.
It's really good.
Because otherwise it's like, oh, well, the New Testament's all about love.
Love and grace and mercy.
And then the Old Testament is about law and war or something like that. It's like, that's not true at all. It's that now we have this model. He's the embodiment of love. God is love, right? And he's embodied in Yeshua.
Yeah.
And that no greater love than this, right? We're following his example.
Yeah. And that's what you're saying is the new part, is that we have this love in action, this love to follow.
Totally.
God is love. He is love.
Right.
Follow his example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is what's extraordinary about, the Gospels, because we have love himself.
Yeah.
That is manifest, and so that's interpreting the law.
Right.
Because there's all this debate on how do we live out these instructions in the writings, in the prophets, in the Torah. Well, this is how you do it.
The living word.
Exactly.
Yep.
He walks it out, and he's saying, well, this is how you do it.
Right.
This is this wrestle between deeds and heart and commandments and serving and all this. He's like, follow my example.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would do away with him?
I said fulfilled, not done away.
I don't understand the difference.
Keeping the law is a response to God's love. But now that I am here, there...
What is the matter? Where have you been?
Something's going on.
You were saying about the law. What's going on? Who is this?
My sister, Mary.
Mary!
Spikenard. Mary, what are you doing?
You're letting your sister touch his feet. That's degrading.
Have you heard nothing of what the teacher has said?
All right, this is enough. Jesus.
Once again, Shmuel. There is no law in Torah commanding that a woman cover her hair. It's just tradition.
You're commending her? Excusing her?
Shmuel, we don't know this family. It's not our place.
Blessed are you, King of the universe, for you have done all things well.
Yusuf, Hernan, we need to leave.
No.
Rabbi Shmuel, I understand, but we have to...
performing an inappropriate act openly, without shame. And he is allowing it while being called God. We can't be found out for having witnessed it and done nothing.
I'm just struck by the generosity.
Yeah.
And it's like this lavish
extravagance
gift,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And where there's all these principles. They're like, well, what about this? What about the poor? What about, you know? And it's like, there's something, but we're talking about love.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the heart of it here, which is why I like that they brought in love to this story.
Right.
Because even though it doesn't say love, that's what's being demonstrated.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so beautiful and it's so generous and beyond.
Right.
That it's like, yeah, because what do you give the creator of the universe who came to the earth?
Right.
Right?
Right.
It's so beautiful.
This scene in scripture, this representation of it, it's like it's so extravagant, and like just her giving, the way she would have gone away smelling the same as him,
right? For days,
right? I don't know, it's all just kind of like whoa.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a lot to process.
It's a good scene to play.
Yeah.
To encourage people to give.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Like, and I don't just mean like take up a tithe.
Play this before the offering. Yeah.
Just
before
that generosity
right.
of giving to the poor, giving to the needy, giving to the kingdom, to what God would have, you know? It's like wow.
Yeah. And there's something about, obviously, what she's doing is preparation, right? And so maybe she got it, maybe she didn't, you know, who knows? Right. So but yeah, you're right. This is this beautiful act of love, gratitude, worship.
Right.
Let the incense arise, you know.
And the text says that she was anointing him for burial.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Whether she knew it or not. That was happening. And she would have still smelled like this because she's wiping her hair on his feet with this when he died.
Wow.
I mean, she was still having that, you know, how smells are so powerful. Like you have these associations and you smell something with a memory.
Yeah.
So she would forever have this memory of his death and resurrection.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that smell.
And probably everybody in the room.
It's true.
Like every time you catch a scent of that, where would you think? Where would you go to?
30 years later, they would still like, oh, they were there.
Messiah.
You know?
Messiah.
That'd be
Messiah.
cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be really cool.
It is such a sense tied to memory that it would totally take you right back there.
Which is pretty amazing.
It's really cool.
Worth it.
Yep.
Then you're like, oh, I'm so glad I spent that money.
Right.
Why was this ointment not sold for hundreds of denarii?
You just told a story about how caring for the poor is akin to caring for the Messiah.
Yes! This could have been given to the poor. This could have been used for anything. Supplies, shelter, things we need. But this is a waste. Where did you get this money, Mary?
Leave her alone. She has done a beautiful thing to me. For you will always have the poor with you. And whenever you want, you can do good for them. But you will not always have me. She has done what she could. She has anointed my body beforehand for burial.
Burial?
What does that mean?
Shh, let him finish.
And believe me,
let him finish.
Wherever the gospel is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will be told in memory of her.
What your followers said is right. This act was wasteful, immodest, and completely contradicts everything you said before about the poor and lowly.
He said, they will always be with us.
The very notion that such a disgrace could be proclaimed throughout the world as part of your gospel, when instead it should be reproached, rebuked, and condemned. I can't be in the same room with this abomination.
Sounds like a personal problem.
I wanted to believe. I came here to give you a chance and you've ruined it.
I'm sorry I couldn't help you.
I'm sorry I couldn't help you.
Rabbi, that is not the man we want to upset if we're trying to unite our people.
For burial?
The ones that love him hear the burial part.
It's interesting that a story like this one, he says, this will be told wherever the gospel is preached. So this extravagant love, this extravagant offering. I mean, and he's getting ready to lay down his life. He says this is also going to be part of that story, which is really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's poetic, it's extravagant, it's beautiful,
and we're fulfilling the prophecy by watching it.
Yep.
And the chosen filming this 2,000 years later.
Right.
Right.
It's still happening.
Right.
What he said is true. Wow. It's really cool. Really good.
You, where are you going?
I don't know.
You're the one who asked why the nard wasn't sold and given to the poor.
I'm not sure I should be talking to you.
I think you're the only one in that room with any sense in your head.
It doesn't take much sense. I was just pointing out the facts. If the parable he said was true, then everyone should have seen how incongruous the waste was. There should have been more dissent.
What are you going to do?
I'm not like you. I believe he is the one. I spoke up in that room because I care about all of us getting this right. We have an opportunity this coming Passover to unite over 1 million of our people against our oppressors. This is too important to be divided.
I agree with you. Our people should be united.
I better go.
May I speak to you again?
I hate so much how it's all about unity. For
I know,
them,
right?
You know, so they're you're unifying around what? Not the Messiah.
No, an interpretation of what they think the Messiah should be.
Who doesn't exist.
Right.
You know, it's like, here he is. Like, you're not going to unify without the Messiah. That's a difficult one.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had the Messiah for 2,000 years and we're still struggling with unifying. You're definitely not going to unify without him.
Without him, oh man. It's very uncomfortable.
Pontius, show some solidarity with me and enjoying the finer things, huh? And stop pretending you like our food.
I don't know why you hate being Jewish so much. I like this bread.
You hate it.
I like it.
You hate it.
I do not, however, enjoy accommodating these unprecedented crowds.
I can't believe we made it to this dinner without running someone over.
Not that you would have noticed if you did.
You do know why there's so many people here this year, huh? A lot of time people can find excuses. Oh, my Ima's not feeling well, or my horse is pregnant, it's going to give birth. I rolled my ankle, the pain is excruciating, the journey's too long, I'm not coming this year. But this year, this year...
This year what?
You're telling me you really don't know?
I want to hear you say it.
Well, apparently there's some kind of miracle worker.
Go on. Go on. Say his name.
Jesus of Nazareth.
Hades and sticks, Claudia. He was almost there.
Nazareth.
Hades and sticks.
It's just, it never gets old. It never gets old.
That's, I mean, it could have been a thing.
Maybe.
If nothing else, it's funny, right?
It is. It is.
Know?
It is.
This is like the good, the bad, and the ugly
it's
here.
Gross,
you know?
man.
Definitely Herod Antipas here is the ugly. Like, it's like, this is like he's so strange looking.
Yeah.
And then you've got, you know, just this strange gathering, and Joanna is the good, right?
Right.
And then
you got Pilate with his weird snake thing going around. It's like it's a nasty dinner,
right?
Yeah. Also, I feel like eating like that would be uncomfortable.
Laying.
Have you ever done that?
I have not. Yeah. Every year at Passover, we say we're gonna try it out some year,
and you just do this instead.
But it's like I feel like then we're like, That seems uncomfortable.
Yeah. Why on this night do we think about reclining?
Like none of the other nights.
Well, if you want to delegitimize Jesus by proving that Lazarus is still dead, then make sure Lazarus is still dead.
He means kill us.
I know what he means.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll pass your idea along.
Hold on. If Jesus did indeed raise Lazarus, and Caiaphas has Lazarus killed, then why wouldn't Jesus just resurrect him again?
That's good. I like that.
A double resurrection.
Well, now that would really be something, wouldn't it?
What a terrible dinner party.
They come on foot, hundreds of miles to an overcrowded city with uncomfortable lodging options.
One way to say it.
Do you believe in anything so much? I wonder what it would be like to have that kind of belief.
We believe things.
What if it cost you something dear? Would you believe it then?
I don't understand.
I'm so sorry. It's Joanna, right?
Yes.
I'm Claudia.
Yes, I know. Thank you. Everything.
I see what the Chosen's doing here because Origin of Alexandria, he writes 100 and something years later that Claudia, you know, Pontius Pilate's wife, she became a follower of Yeshua.
No joke.
So they're kind of putting this early interest into the storyline.
Right.
Which is very plausible.
Right. I mean,
if she came to faith.
She's active in the crucifixion story a little bit, right? So we have that. And I mean, that makes sense to me.
Right.
Like, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And Joanna, I mean, that's a very likely story, you know?
Right. And like you think about Joanna, what an interesting character. Supporting the ministry of Jesus financially, and yet in this realm of, you know, the hierarchy of, you know, all this bureaucracy and whatnot. It's like it had to be a really weird reality for her to go back and forth between the two, you know, and yet maintain being a follower, but a disciple of Jesus.
Right.
Really interesting.
Very interesting.
And who knows? Maybe they had a conversation like this, you know? And so, because they would have crossed paths probably. And so maybe Joanna was actually helpful in the conversion of Claudia. Who knows?
Yep.
Right? Interesting to think about.
You forgot your bag in your room.
Ah. On purpose. I knew you would know I needed it.
It's a setup. It's a cool shot.
This day has been a long time in the making.
Generations.
She gets
Since
it.
Joseph isn't around to see it, I thought it only fitting you bring it. It represents him. And a way for the three of us to be together today.
What you said yesterday about the perfume, that she was preparing your body for burial. Do you know how hard that is for a mother to hear?
I can't shield you from this anymore. I'm sorry, Ima.
Scenes like this, I think, are cool and important because we do know that Mary was around, and obviously even during the crucifixion, like she was there. But what was prophesied even right after Yeshua's birth, when they were dedicating him in the temple, Simeon comes up to them and he's got all this really cool things to say, but then he says this line to Mary. He says, "And a sword shall pierce your soul also." And so as the mother of the Messiah, it's like there was like some extra sacrifice for her.
Right.
You know, she had to watch her son go through this horrific deal.
Right.
And so I like what they do with their relationship here, because it brings that to life.
Right.
Because we don't hear about her interacting with him.
Right.
And we just hear about her there at the crucifixion, but there was lead up to that. There was probably grief and pain.
For sure.
And we know that she treasured things in her heart from just knowing Luke 1 and 2. And so she was probably carrying that with her into these moments.
And any good parent doesn't want to see their children suffer.
Right.
And be in pain. I mean, that's like actually the worst thing that you could ever imagine, right? So she's obviously an amazing woman. And so this had to be that much more difficult for her.
Right.
You know?
Right. And we see it's not that Jesus was, careless with this relationship, because even from the cross, he looks to one of his disciples and says, "Hey, take care of her."
That's
right. I want you to take care of this. And she came into his house and was taken care of.
Yeah.
So he obviously had deep care and love for his mom as well.
Good.
Also, I think it's cool to note that she was a disciple of his, is what it seems like, right? Like she's following him throughout this week, and like we've been talking about, even her at the cross, like she was following him.
She needs a savior,
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know that I always think about it like that.
It's good,
but she became one of Yeshua's disciples, and so it seems, and she was referenced in the book of Acts too. Like so, she's around. She's a disciple.
It's good.
So, I mean, yes, there's this veneration and honor of her as the mother of the Messiah, but she was a disciple,
right?
From what it seems like.
Yeah. That's really interesting, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah, she's the God bearer, they call her, the Theotokos.
Wow.
But also a disciple.
Right.
It's a pretty, wow.
Following her son, the Son of God. What a trip.
What a story, man.
Whew.
They just start taking him.
Yeah. Excuse me. Slicha.
Who are you? You're taking my master's colt? The Lord has need of it.
Our master.
Now, hold on. I don't know what kind of arrangements you've made, but you cannot take...
Has anyone ever sat on this colt?
What?
Please, just answer.
No, no one. But what is this all about?
The Lord has need of this.
Are you followers of the Nazarene that raised Lazarus?
Do you know the prophets, especially those after the exile? From Zechariah, rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout aloud, O daughter of Jerusalem. Your king is coming to you.
Yeah.
Righteous.
So good.
And having salvation is he. Humble and mounted on a donkey.
On a colt. The foal of a donkey.
Come on.
This colt.
Wow.
What are you waiting for?
I like it. That was pretty beautiful.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
That one got me.
Yeah.
That was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, and they knew, like, it's so true. They would know the word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was this anticipation, right? It's like, this one?
This cult for that Lord?
Like, wow. It's kind of like living history. You're living into the prophecies.
Right.
And wow.
It reminds me of last episode when Lazarus and Jesus are talking. And it's like, they were just words on a scroll.
Right.
And now it's like right here. Like, had to be happening all the time.
All the time.
Opening the eyes of a man born blind.
Right.
A cold. So it's like, wait a minute. These are things that were prophesied.
Right.
And it's happening. Like, and it's you. Bing. It's like light bulbs going off, you know. Salvation has come.
So they're quoting the Zechariah passage here, and it just hitting me because they're saying that salvation is coming.
Yeah, totally.
So it's not just, prophecy is being fulfilled. It's salvation is here.
Yep.
Like what? I mean, there had to be this huge expectation. And yeah, that's where they're showing you in this episode, well, what does that mean? Does salvation mean, your eternal destiny? Or does it mean the defeat of Rome?
Right.
But like there is a stir in the air that salvation has come. And now it's a matter of what does that look like?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Driver, press forward.
I can't, sir.
Goodbye, Chusa.
I love it.
That was fun.
What are you doing? Joanna! Come back here! Are you crazy?
So I think this is a fun scene because you see this like shift in Joanna where she's like scared, not really knowing what she's doing, and then her face shifts to this like resolve, and she's like, "See ya,
Deuces.
I'm out." But she's looking out the cart, and she's seeing the people with the palm branches. Like,
Right.
what's up with that?
Yeah, she's excited. She gets it. She's like, oh wow, the Messiah is coming. This is the waving of the branches, which is actually it's interesting because it's a Sukkot tradition, Feast of Tabernacles,
right?
Of waving the palm branches, the lulavim. But this isn't Sukkot season. It's actually Passover season.
Yeah.
But it's like, but the Messiah is coming.
So like, doesn't matter. Let's get some palm branches.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just, they're stirred up to, this is the Messiah. And this is an important and exciting theme because Sukkot, it's all about, it's like this wedding and it's this celebration. It's the wedding banquet of the Lamb.
Right.
And so this is this excitement that the king is coming, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So she's seeing it. She's hearing it, feeling it. The palm branches are in hand, and she's like, I'm in. Let's go welcome the king.
Let's do it.
Big old box fit in that backpack.
Chewie! That was like Narnia's wardrobe there. Disciple like, what's in there? Like, Narnia your business. Wow.
Excellent, Tom.
this whole bundle.
Nice.
Here, take one. This is for you. And you, please take some.
Shmuel's not happy. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster ride with Shmuel here. It's like 1 minute I'm with him, 1 minute I'm just like, no. The next minute I'm like, yay. It's just like, what's gonna happen with this guy?
I don't know. It's not looking good. Not looking good.
Do you think there's any chance?
I mean,
I hope so.
Everybody's got a chance, right?
I hope so.
Till the very end.
Right.
So
maybe there'll be a moment. Let's hope so.
So whatever you think about the story of this bridal that the Chosen is, adding to the story here, what I like about that element is that they're showing you that Yeshua isn't just coming on the scene out of nowhere.
Right.
Like they're showing you that he's connected to King David.
Totally.
And the King David is connected to the Israelites and coming out of Egypt and this long covenantal history of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the Jewish people, and that's this line that he comes from.
Right.
Yeah. So I just love that they're showing that, and it's not just like, oh yeah, here he is.
Right.
It's like this is like been prophesied, foretold, and it's coming to this culmination in the man Jesus.
Yeah, for sure.
This Jewish man arriving on the scene as the Messiah of Israel.
Right. Now, and like you said, I mean, it's a fictitious story, and yet, like you're saying, it's important to note that he's a part of the people of Israel, which is the gospel writers were concerned about that too. Matthew and Luke have these genealogies that are like, hey, this isn't out of nowhere.
Right. Totally.
This is a long connected history. This is who we are as a people.
That's good.
This is important. And so in an artistic and fiction way, the Chosen's doing that.
Yeah.
Whereas the gospel writers are saying, hey, this is the lineage of our king.
Totally.
Right.
That's a great connection with the genealogy. I mean, Matthew thinks it's so important. He starts it off. The entire gospel in the New Testament begins with genealogy to show, because otherwise he's just some guy.
Just appear on the scene out of nowhere.
And he's just...
No, that's not how it works.
Christianity isn't just some new religion. If Jesus just is appearing out of nowhere and he's not in continuity with the story of Israel, then he's to be rejected.
Right.
Exactly. He has to be the Messiah of Israel and the fulfillment of the prophecies of Israel.
Yeah.
Or he's not the Son of God and he's not the Messiah.
Yeah.
So I like the way they're doing it, actually connect. Because how else do you connect it? It's difficult to connect him back.
Right.
With thousands of years of Jewish history.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a great story, so go read it all.
Right. It takes a long time.
It does.
The time has come. I must do the will of my Father in heaven. I know you all have many questions, and there will be a time for those. But for now, will you come with me?
Lord, where else would we go? You alone have the words of eternal life.
no matter what happens this week, no matter what you see, or feel, or think, or do, I want you to know that in this world, I loved you as my own. And I will love you till the end.
It was interesting how they ended it more on a somber note, you know?
Yeah.
And it's such a mix of emotions.
For sure.
Right? It's like
that's what I was thinking too.
I'm feeling, for whatever reason, the excitement.
Right.
Of, like, we want this to happen.
Right.
I mean, you know, probably because they're showing us the palm branches, the Hoshiana, you know, Son of David.
Yeah.
You know, come, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then of course you've got terrible things to go through. I mean, it's just so many emotions.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do have this underlying excitement of like, this has to happen.
Right.
And we want this to happen.
Yeah. I do feel like they did a good job of capturing that.
Oh, yeah.
So like there's these really long moments of just like not even words and some words and then this kind of like cowboy-esque like music that's rolling,
Right.
you know.
I thought it was gonna like really like, but then they didn't go with the montage, and it's like,
so it's like both,
Yeah.
like you're saying. It's like excitement and really, really weighty.
Yeah.
Which I think that accurately describes what's going on in the Gospels is that Jesus is riding in, and we know he doesn't go in and stay in, but that ride in had to feel different than any other ride in or walk in before or after, right? You know, it's like that was a critical moment.
Yeah.
And they're capturing this weight, which is paradoxical, but that's kind of like the nature of the kingdom is that we just kind of live with paradoxes.
Totally.
Like the joy, celebration, ecstatic, and sober reality. Yeah. Like you have to hold both of them in balance.
And I think I don't know if I thought about it as much until they put it on film. The tension that's really there when he comes into Jerusalem on a donkey.
Right.
That, look, they did just try to stone him.
Yeah.
And they did want to kill Lazarus. And they did want to kill Yeshua. Like it says that in the text. And so coming into the city itself, that was dangerous.
Right.
That was, and so I don't know if I thought about it. I'm usually thinking just in like Hosanna, you know, like this celebratory, but there really was especially if you're one of the followers and you're like, I don't know if this is such a great idea. So I think it was helpful to see it on film to where they're actually capturing that major tension that they're stepping into.
And immediately when he reaches Jerusalem, it's there. There's the crying out, the celebration, and there's some of the religious leaders are like, will you shut those people up? And he's like, no, I'm not going to. Even the rocks are going to cry out if they don't.
Right.
You know? And so like there's just absolute tension. And I think next season's going to be full of tension.
Yeah. Holy Week and Passover, here we come. Yeah. Hey, Sam, are you wealthy?
Not really.
Me neither. Hey, please donate, help us make more videos, become a grafted ambassador.
So, Tom, what if like somebody like came up walking to your house? You just bought a brand new car. You hadn't even driven it yet, got delivered.
I've never bought a brand new car.
Regardless. What if they were like, hey, we need to borrow your car? You're like, I haven't even driven it. And they were like, the Lord needs it. What would you say?
That'd be
Here you go.
It would be pretty cool.
Yeah, right.